Alright, let's talk about the one theory that every single Power fan keeps coming back to no matter what. Ghost is still alive. And I know. We watched him get shot. We watched him fall. We saw the funeral. But here's the thing. This is the Power universe. And in the Power universe, Ghost never dies. Isn't just a cool line they keep throwing around. It might actually be a roadmap. Because think about it. The way they keep referencing Ghost in Force, in Ghost the series, in every single spin-off, it's way too intentional. You don't keep a dead man that present in a story unless you're building toward something. So today, we're breaking down every single reason why Ghost could still be alive, what his return could actually look like in Power Legacy, and honestly, whether it would even make sense for the story they're trying to tell with Tommy and Tariq. Let's get into it. First, let's be real about why people never fully buried this theory, and I mean that literally. The biggest thing people always point to is that we never got a truly clean, undeniable death for Ghost the way this universe usually handles things. Compare it to other major deaths in Power.
Angela,
Reyna,
Proctor.
those were definitive. Those felt final. Ghost's ending always felt slightly open. Like the show was daring you to question it. And then on top of that, every spin-off keeps Ghost alive in spirit. Tariq is constantly haunted by him. Tommy still carries that whole relationship with him everywhere he goes. Even characters who barely knew Ghost are still reacting to his legacy seasons later. That's not normal for a dead character. That's a character the writers are keeping warm. And then Power Legacy gets announced, Tommy and Tariq finally together, and people immediately started asking, if this is really the final chapter of this whole universe, wouldn't Ghost have to be part of it somehow? Now let's talk actual evidence, or at least what fans have been building their theories on. Number 1. The Ghost never dies line. They have said this in multiple shows now. At some point you have to ask yourself, are they just being poetic? Or are they actually telling us something? Number 2. Ghost's body. There are people who will still argue to this day that we never got full confirmation of everything surrounding that situation in a way that completely closes the door. And in a universe built on fake deaths, secret identities, and characters who disappear and resurface, that matters. Number 3. Tariq's psychology. His entire arc across Ghost the series is built around his complicated relationship with his father. Not just grief, not just guilt, but almost like he's never fully processed it because deep down, some part of him doesn't believe it's truly over. And writers don't write a character like that unless they're leaving a door open. Number 4. Tommy's reaction. Even in Force, even seasons removed from everything, Tommy still carries Ghost with him emotionally in a way that feels unresolved. These two were brothers. And the way Tommy talks about him sometimes, it doesn't always feel like a man who's made peace with losing somebody. It feels like a man who still isn't sure what to believe. Now here's where it gets interesting, because even if you believe Ghost could still be alive, the harder question is, how would they actually bring him back in a way that makes sense? Option 1. Ghost as a vision or presence. This is the safe play. They've already been doing versions of this. Tariq sees Ghost, hears him, argues with him. This version doesn't require Omari Hardwick to be physically alive in the story, just present in Tariq's mind as he makes decisions. It's safe, it's emotionally effective, and it keeps Ghost relevant without blowing up the whole canon. Option 2. Ghost actually alive, living off the grid. This is the wild one. The theory that Ghost faked his death, disappeared, built a new life somewhere, and has been watching from a distance this whole time. Some people think the whole setup was engineered, that Ghost was smart enough, connected enough, and desperate enough to stage his own exit from a life that was going to get him killed eventually anyway. If this is true, Power Legacy would be the perfect moment to reveal it. Tommy and Tariq finally in the same room, and then Ghost walks back in. That scene alone would break the internet. Option 3. Ghost is revealed through Legacy. Not a physical return, but documents, recordings, hidden accounts, a plan he left behind that Tariq and Tommy are now being forced to execute.
Ghost was always 10 steps ahead.
It wouldn't be out of character for him to have set something in motion years before his death that only activates when his son and his best friend finally come together. Here's the honest breakdown. A Ghost return done right? It could be the most powerful moment in this entire franchise. Because the whole Power universe has always been about legacy, consequences, and the sins of fathers following their children. Bringing Ghost back, in any form, in the final chapter closes a loop that's been open since the very beginning. But a ghost returned done wrong? It cheapens everything. It undermines Tariq's entire arc. Because so much of who Tariq is came from what losing Ghost did to him. If Ghost was alive this whole time, watching Tariq suffer, watching him risk everything, that changes how we see Ghost completely. And not necessarily in a good way. So if they bring him back, the how and the why matters just as much as the return itself. Look, at the end of the day, we don't have official confirmation of anything yet. Power Legacy doesn't even have a release date, though honestly, 2027 feels like the realistic target given how much groundwork Force already laid. But one thing is certain, Ghost's shadow is hanging over Power Legacy whether he shows up or not. Because this whole universe was built on him. And now with Tommy and Tariq finally sharing the same story for the first time, you can't tell me the ghost of James St. Patrick isn't going to be right there in the middle of all of it. So let me know in the comments, do you think Ghost is actually still alive? And if he comes back in Power Legacy, how do you want it to happen? Drop your theory below. I read every single one. And if you're locked in for Power Legacy content, subscribe and hit the bell, because we are going to be covering this show heavily from now until it drops. See you in the next one.